Howdy up and welcome to another episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And well, hey, the NBA is back. NBA is back in action. We just had tip-off not too long ago, so I figured it just makes sense to jump into something that I'm really passionate about, which is basketball, because we're playing basketball. I'm sorry I can't sing, but I just can't get, obviously, all those basketball songs out of my head, especially now NBA. I'm not sure if you saw that, and I'm going off of attention already in the first 10 seconds, but the trailer or the video the NBA dropped to celebrate 15 years of hip-hop was pretty dope, like pretty awesome, and me using the word dope shows how old I am, but it was pretty cool. So yeah, big props to the NBA for that. I mean, it all fits to what we're discussing actually, because it's of course all calculated, but that was a cool video. But yeah, so we're talking NBA and media, and how media impacts the NBA, how the NBA players, the organization are using media to steer narratives and whatnot. So welcome to the NBA episode here for the Funky Pod, Mindful Media and Communication. And now that the NBA tipped off again, right, it's back with its, I want to say, actually relentless media extravaganza, especially like as we move on and when All-Star break runs around and close to the playoffs, and it's shifting in another gear, but it's already pretty extravagant in my opinion. So we got all the debate shows to player social antics, right? I'm going to try to break all those things down in the next 10-15 minutes, okay, to check how today's landscape like breeds like those I have to say it, those piping hot storylines, right? So load management got you fuming maybe, right? Just wait for the next Twitter/X drama / burner account incident, right? So we'll explore this whole circus through communication theories. Okay, so let's dive right into that communication / media madness. And I'm gonna start with the obvious one. Hey, Stephen A. The hot take culture, right? Debate shows like, and I have to start with First Take, of course. Like, there are others, but no show comes close to First Take, obviously, right? And those other shows do the same thing. And those type of shows, those debate shows, they serve up like those louder than live personalities, like Stephen A. Smith, right? Why? Because they hook the viewers through their sheer force of like bombast, right? Right, so they just captivate you so much. Like those theatrical arguments, right? They prioritize like confirmation bias, first theory, over actual reason. Yeah, and Stephen A. is fantastic at it. And by the way, I'm not saying Stephen A. doesn't know basketball. Stephen A. is a basketball encyclopedia, if that even remotely to how you pronounce it in English, right? So he's fantastic. I mean, he's been doing basketball-related jobs, journalism, his whole life. So, and I like the interviews with him. Like when he's actually opening up a little bit, he's fantastic. But I'm saying what he does on First Take, for example, or on his Stephen A. Smith show, is completely on purpose. He's a media professional. He knows exactly how to use and utilize the media to get whatever he wants to get out of the audience. So, right, so the theatrical arguments are completely on purpose, right? So those hot takes, they provide like easy digestible content for followers and don't cancel me, give me the second to explain with goldfish-like attention span, but that's because our attention span, according to science, enter the science bitch meme, it's like shorter than a goldfish, like the attention span. Like attention span is like a few seconds, right? A goldfish has like, I don't know, a second more or something. The difference is, of course, that we are aware of it, we can refocus, and so we can force ourselves to pay more attention. But generally speaking, like attention span is like this, right? And that's why you need hot takes, because they captivate the audience. It's easy. It's easy to follow Stephen A. Smith when he says like, there's no white player out there who could ever dominate the league or whatever, right? Just I'm making something up right now. And then Luka Doncic comes around, and you're like, And so it's easy to like split, to divide the audience. And like, yeah, he's trying to, no, you're stupid. And that's exactly what those debate shows want, right? So, like Stephen A. back then, like when Max Kellerman was still on the show, it was the perfect, I know, opposition, so to speak, to balance it out, right? That was just fantastic. So, from a media point of view, you're tipping your head and you're like, you guys know exactly what you're doing, and you're doing it very, 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 very well. Okay. But the thing is, besides doing it very well from a media point of view, right? Doing that, like those hot take cultures, right? Like pushing the hot take culture that prizes immediate reaction, right? Oh my God, over actual analysis. And we have like the Postman's media theory here. It means it cultivates the combative mindset, with fans, what I just said, passionately choosing sides. Either you're pro Stephen A or you're against Stephen A in this very case, right? So it's not, let's sit back, let's analyze for a second. It's like, choose your side. And I don't want to criticize, because I mean, it works, right? And it's fun, but it's just maybe not what's best, or it doesn't give you the best insights in regards to what's actually happening in the game of basketball. And that's exactly how Stephen A always says it, right? Playing the game of basketball. So yeah, you have to choose sides. And like terms like, I know, the LeBron haters like become a thing, right? Because then certain pundits are hating on LeBron, he's too old, whatever, and others are like, no, LeBron's the greatest ever. It's just all about splitting the audience into teams, choosing sides, and then going at each other. Because we already know from previous episodes of this podcast that group thinking, group dynamics are very, very important when it comes to the media, especially to social media, right? And there, of course, like now when it comes to those shows, right? Lots of ex-players are now pundits on those shows, right? They're getting in there. Like Big Perk, for example, is like everywhere. We have also JJ Redick, but JJ Redick, I gotta say, and I'm coming to this in just a second, while he debates Stephen A sometimes, his show is like more long-form content based, right? Like it's a bit more like analytical, actually, taking the time. It's like he's a Joe Rogan of the NBA, of basketball right now, right? Long-form content, then splitting it up later into shorter videos, yes, but it's like more letting it breathe and actually, I don't know, giving some space to actually analyze what is happening. Like giving it some time, I think the audience appreciates that. And of course, there's also Zach Lowe, who just was on JJ Redick like a week ago or so, actually. So people like this, they prove that the depth does resonate with like the actual NBA fans, the actual hardcore basketball loving audience, right? However, it stands to reason that outlets, they incentivize volume and viral reach over insight, unfortunately. Proven by JJ Redick being one of the few, Zach Lowe being one of the few who actually provide depth. All right, so and of course this is very much related to social media, because social media also breeds like those instant reactions that you want, right? So you have the hot take culture, throw it on social media, and then there's those hot social media reactions right away. This all undervalues wisdom and patience, like some obsolete relic of the past. Like, who needs that, right? So no pressure, but JJ Redick, you're our only hope, and Zach Lowe, and a few of those guys, of course, right? The old man and the three doing a good job, generally speaking. Yeah. How do we now get the curve to something more fun? I don't know. But we also have to talk about not only hot take culture. Let's move this aside for a while. Let's ignore Stephen A. Yelling in the background. Star player branding, right? Players, of course, also utilize the media. Their teams utilize the media. Like at superstars, they and I choose this term like purposefully, but might also be because I'm not a native English speaker. So let's see. I think superstars ruthlessly, stick with me, they craft narratives through social media and press leaks. Yeah, like for example, LeBron. And I'm not a LeBron hater. Especially now that he's getting older, we are like almost the same age. So I'm like, LeBron, go for it. But I mean, there's no debate that MJ is the greatest basketball player ever. But I appreciate what LeBron is doing. Nothing to do with it. But LeBron, like he masters this projecting the authentic, and I hate air quotes on podcasts, but I'm doing an air quote right now. Like he masters like showing this authentic persona in the media, right? And the direct access, social media, for example, cuts out all the middlemen. But it's, of course, still meticulously controlled. It's not just like, oh, some random life here and there. It's like very well planned, of course. It's like this manufactured intimacy, if you will. And this fosters, next theory, we talked about this before, parasocial relationships. Right? Parasocial relationship means fans, supporters, followers, they feel like they really know the person that the media is showing, social media is showing right now, but that person, the superstar, doesn't know that you exist, obviously, but you think you know everything about them. That's a parasocial, not really social, like parasocial relationship. So the fan feels connected to those carefully curated personalities that are not real. They are, next theory, hyper-real, right? But we believe we know everything because we follow them and eat everything up that they're sharing. And so they strategically leverage rumors and subtle frustrations to drive engagement. Now, even as like fans consume the off-court drama too, right? The real goal is fame, ratings, and to build the own brand. The medium is the message. Marshall McLuhan, we talked about this in many podcasts, right? So the medium shapes this message. Now, unchecked digital access provides a very, very selective window into their lives. You don't see all their life, which is good, otherwise you would be a creepy stalker, but they open like this window, like, hey, look at me right now, and they act like it's their real life, but it's not, okay? So more and more, like increasingly, stars are taking control, which is also good, of their own media narratives, right? Why would you let someone else take control of the media narrative? Why don't you take control yourself? Fair game. Well, we had KD, right? Kevin Durant, starting like the boardroom media network to like create content on his terms, for example. We have LeBron's Uninterrupted, with like players having like a platform to fans. So stars are seeking more and more creative control and profit, pivoting from like subject, right, to more like distributor. And can't blame him. It's a good thing. Take charge of your personality, right? So, but the media definitely empowers them to do so. By the way, KD also does other things with the media, just saying. Well, we also have, and we have to mention, and it's been like mentioned a few times on YouTube over the past few weeks, I think, but journalism, right? Access journalism. So like we have like inside reporters, we have to mention them, like Shams, for example, in Vogue. They build like massive followings, like breaking news on transactions and scoops and so on. And this transferred the power from teams to journalists. And now journalists have to like, I hope that's a word, I heard it, schmooze, can I say that? I think so, right? It's almost like German. The journalists, they schmooze, I hope that's correct, with stars. But it also accelerates the news cycle to like hyper speed, because as a team, you don't have time to react. As a player, you don't have much time to react if something comes out about you and you're not informed. Like, how do you know, right? So rumors and speculation, they amplify dramatically. Teams now react rather than drive agendas. Of course, they all have their agendas, but if something breaks, if Vogue breaks something, and you're not in the good graces of Vogue or Shams, they just break it to get like the clicks, and like, what? Huh? And then you have to react, right? So it's crazy. And fans obsess over those 24/7 news cycles / dramas, of course. Like, we, the fans, we consume rumors as entertainment. It's funny. It's like, oh God, what did Ja Morant do now again, right? Come on, he really can't catch a break. But kind of like we're like entertained by what's happening, if you're honest, right? So the reporting becomes the story itself. It's like a dizzying meta narrative, if you want, like further like spiraling the media vortex. Right, it's not what's happening on the court; it's also what happens off the court, and we want all the scoops and all the drama and everything, and give me more, right? And while players could say, "Oh, that's terrible," and so on, let's be honest, the NBA utilizes media to do exactly that too, right? To carefully market their stars, like Zion, for example. Like Zion Williamson received so much breathless coverage that the league pushed, that the league amplified. Right, and he's fantastic. I'm not hating on him. It's just an example. Like the league was like pushing him as the next big thing, and he gets injured all the time and whatnot. So sad story. He's back now, so all good. But you see what I'm saying, right? The league also uses that. So if you're using the mechanisms, you cannot complain that others are using the mechanisms. It's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So media speculation impacts events like The All-Star selection, for example. And I'm so glad we're back to the normal All-Star format, or almost, I think, right? Controversies force reaction, for example, as well. When Ja Morant went live on IG, or was seen on an IG live, I believe, with like a weapon in a club, right? The NBA had to react. They couldn't just ignore it, right? So the spotlight compelled teams to respond, which is also not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it is too much, maybe it's not. It really depends on the eye of the beholder, I believe. What's not in the eye of the beholder is load management. Well, depends who the beholder is. But the load management controversy, right? I'm sighing because, no kidding, the same thing, the same narrative is now being argued in the German football, for American soccer, Bundesliga. Right, so I'm German, so I watch it here and there. And they're doing load management now in football, soccer. In football, soccer, they have 34 games per season in the league. And then they might have European leagues, 16 more if they go all the way. So it's going to be 34, 60, 50. Okay, there may be some international caps. If you're like a superstar player, you have more international caps. Okay, let's say you have 60 games the whole year. Load management. And I know a game is 90 minutes. Yes, I know. But you play once a week. Maybe twice a week here and there. If there's like a cup game or international, or like a Champions League or whatever. I hate the NBA for introducing the term load management into like sports science, because now every second-class sports scientist all over the world is going to be like, oh yeah, here, load management, you should. Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. Anyways, back to load management, the media and the NBA, okay? So those load management controversies, and props to the NBA for trying to tackle it, okay? So those controversies, they demonstrate the intersection of text, branding, and backlash, because huge backlash from the fans, right? So sports medicine confirms like youngsters sitting strategic games can prevent injury, right? But then there are voices like Stephen A., Max Kellerman. I don't even know what Max said, but I know what Stephen A. said. They frame it as like softness or poor ethics. And let's be honest, as fans, we spend like, I don't know how much money you spend in the US to watch a basketball game live, but you watch it and you're like, I spent so much money. I drove here all the way. I took like half day off or something. Then they're not even in the arena. Like what? So yeah, fair enough. So there are proven benefits of like if you sit out, if you recover, you get less hurt. Obviously, yeah. But the media sparks an outrage over like the eroding basketball culture, which is totally fair. So I'm not hating on the media. I say it's totally fair. I'm on that side. even though science says if you sit more, you recover better. No kidding. If you don't use your body, you don't get hurt. But on the side of the fan, you earn so much money, millions and millions. Put your body on the line, right? So I'm on that side. I'm just saying like that the media has huge impact there, which is a good thing in this case, right? Players then defend themselves online against escalating criticism and so on, but eventually probably had to understand, okay, fans feel that way, and I understand the fans, right? So teams struggle to balance like rest, playing time, public perception, and so on. It's going to be difficult. It's just what it is, because it's a difficult place to be. Life is not easy. Life is difficult, so it's normal. And the media now shining a bigger spotlight on there makes it more difficult. Not saying that's a bad thing, just saying that that's how it is, right? So TV and last point on that, I think TV relies on stars playing, obviously, especially like national televised games, which is a rule now actually in the NBA, right? So national televised games, you cannot rest more than one player, or I think, okay, bench one bit more players, like if you have several star players. The thing is though, and so while I'm on the side of the fans, of course, because I'm a fan first, but in this climate, with like all the spotlights on every little thing, be that like load management, be that like what you do in your free time, be that on you trying to curate your persona, right? Be it on like hot takes, be it on like long form content, if you're trying that, on all-star selection, on draft predictions and whatnot. Nuance is basically impossible. Like what JJ Redick is doing, for example, nuanced conversations are the exception. And so the medium favors like those quick, concise, dramatic points over complexity. But it's just media in general, not just in the NBA, right? It's media in general. We want like TikTok takes. Oh, I should trademark the term. We want TikTok takes, not long-form content. Yeah, so this endless reaction cycle that persists without space for facts or compassion. And it sucks. Yeah, no wonder players need a rest with so much attention and pressure on them all the time. No, I did not give you an out there. So let's bring it together, okay? So the forces converge to create this overwhelming NBA media ecosystem, right? So content production has like vastly accelerated across like obviously online TV, social platforms, and so on to feed this insatiable beast, right? It keeps eating away. And this all fosters like a deeply invested parasocial, one more time, relationship where fans feel connected to the stars. That combine this with purposefully created controversy. It's a super profitable formula the networks, the teams, the league has mastered to like a great extent. We talked about Marshall McLuhan before, one more time, Marshall McLuhan. He prescribed, we must critique what messages actually serve fans amidst the chaos, right? So until this actually happens, this dissing spin cycle will just churn on and on and on and will just never stop. In addition, last thing, nostalgic NBA history coverage through new and old media brings in different generations of fans, which, again, from an NBA point of view, is a good thing, right? Those 30 for 30 styles retrospectives, for example, they stoke like renewed engagement. Who was the best player ever to have played the game? Was it Magic Johnson? Was it MJ? Was it Kobe, LeBron, Charles Barkley? I'm just joking. This all brings engagement. So archival footage, for example, and interviews, like they propagate it on social platforms. They unlock reverence. Okay, so by tapping, as an example, into nostalgia, NBA expands the cultural footprint, which again is not a bad thing, it's a good thing, just showing that the league is using the media in a smart way, so don't blame others for doing the same. I come back to my initial reference, or my initial example in today's episode, the 50 years of hip-hop celebration, which is fantastic. But it also shows that the NBA, of course, is using the media to connect itself to other causes. But of course, pop culture itself, hip-hop itself, made the connection to the NBA in a smart way back then, and still does. So everyone's using the media, so don't be mad if you want to use it to your advantage, which is totally legit. But don't be mad if others do the same, right? That's just what I'm saying. Okay. Last question that I leave you with now is this media-heavy culture right now. Does this enhance or distract from, Stephen A., the game of basketball? You can make strong cases in both ways, I think. As fans, we have an agency in how we choose to engage via the media. And I think with awareness, and now I sound like a teacher, right? I think with awareness, we can like privilege nuance over noise, if that's what we choose. Like maybe even empathy over polarization. Maybe give James Harden a break. No, never mind. Forget about it. Not a great example. Ben Simmons. But maybe we can show empathy over polarization. Yeah, we can shape the narratives, not just react to them, I think. So now, sit back, enjoy the ride to the playoffs, or not. Don't enjoy it. But do let me know what you think. Are you an avid fan of the NBA media? Or do you say, no, all I want is just the game of basketball, and I don't want this whole crazy media circus impacting the beautiful game? Let me know in the comments, shout out funkitpod on social media, funkitpod@gmail.com if you want to send an email. Like, share, subscribe, rate this thing if you can, if you will. That would be very helpful. Until then, stay safe, take care, don't get any technical fouls. We talk soon. Sawadee ka.